In this video, we're going to have a look at how to divide expressions that involve surds. So the first step is to make sure that each surd in the expression has been written in its simplest form. If it hasn't been written in the simplest form, you need to go ahead and simplify it before you can continue. Once you've finished simplifying the surds, divide the numbers under the square root signs together as your second step. And then your third step is to divide the numbers outside of the square root sign together. If they can't be divided equally, simplify the fraction and leave them in fraction form. The final step before you can finish is to make sure that your answer is in simplest form. If it's not in simplest form, go ahead and simplify it before finishing the question. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. So in my first example, I want to simplify the expression the square root of 15 divided by the square root of 3. So first I need to make sure that all my surds have been simplified, and the square root of 15 and the square root of 3 are both already in simplified form, so I don't need to do any simplification. I can go ahead and apply my division. So that is going to equal, when I'm dividing surds, I divide the numbers under my square root signs together. So that's going to be the square root of 15 divided by 3. So my answer is going to be the square root of 5. Now before I finish, I need to make sure that my answer is in simplified form, which it is. So my final simplified answer is going to be the square root of 5. So having a look at my second example, I'm going to simplify 18 times the square root of 40 divided by 6 times the square root of 12. So I need to start off with checking my surds to make sure they're already in simplified form. 6 times the square root of 2 is already in simplified form, but 18 times the square root of 40 isn't. So that can be simplified further using the factors of 4 times 10, because 4 is a perfect square. So that is going to equal to 18 times the square root of 4 times 10, which equals 18 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 10. So 18 times 2 times the square root of 10, so that's going to equal to 36 times the square root of 10. So now that I've gone ahead and simplified, I can substitute the simplified expression back into my original. So 36 times the square root of 10 divided by 6 times the square root of 2. So moving on to my second step, looking at the numbers inside of my square roots and dividing them. So that is going to be 10 divided by 2, which is equal to 5. And then looking at my numbers outside, 36 divided by 6 is equal to 6. So my simplified answer to 18 times the square root of 40 divided by 6 times the square root of 2 is equal to 6 times the square root of 5. Now I need to do one more check to make sure it's in simplest form, which it is. So my final answer is 6 times the square root of 5. So that's 2 examples of how we can divide expressions involving surds.